So let's talk about the supposed Marxism or communism of Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris isn't close to being a communist whatsoever. I'm reading about the first 5-year plan. The first 5-year plan of Stalin was to have these big farm collectives. So they're going to pile all the peasants, all the poor people on a farm, and then they're going to make them all collectively run the farm. And then the grain that they would get to keep some of it, but most of the grain and the farm products would go to the state. And then the state was going to redistribute it to anybody and everybody. So when they talk about communism, we're talking about dictatorship of the proletariat. We're talking about controlling the means of production. And then ultimately to take the power of the state and then to dissolve the state and give it to the people. This is Marxism. This is communism. So let's take a look at what is Kamala. What is Kamala's proposals? Okay, one big thing people are saying, that's communism. So she was going to give the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, authority to impose large fines on big grocery who impose price gouging. The FTC, you're going to give them authority in order to see, the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission, right? The Federal Trade Commission is an independent agency of the U.S. government whose principal mission is the enforcement of civil antitrust law and the promotion of consumer protection. If you actually care about capitalism, well then let's take a look at Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman says that there's two big enemies to capitalism. One thing is fraud. You can't say a product or a service is one thing and then it'd be a different thing. That's obvious, right? You said you was going to sell pizzas and instead you served a bunch of dog shit. That's not allowed. You're not allowed to use fraud. And the other thing is monopolies. You can't monopolize an entire industry. You want free and fair trade. You want competition. Competition is supposed to bring about the best, the best of the best of everybody. And so when you were going to use the FTC, you have Albertsons and Kroger's and you have all these big grocery conglomerates that keep on monopolizing. They keep on joining together. So by imposing large fines on big grocery who impose price gouging. So let's think about this for a second. So grocery, you have Kroger who sells milk at, let's say, $3 a gallon, $4 a gallon. And then, a year later it's $5 and then it's $6 and then a year later it's $7. Is that price gouging? No, we're talking about like big jumps, right? So if it's, let's say milk is $4 a gallon and then we go ahead and spike it up to $20. So if milk goes from $4 a gallon to $20 a gallon, they're saying that they're going to fine the capitalist entity. They're not going to break up the capitalist entity. They're not going to put the capitalist entity out of business. They're going to impose a fine if they take milk from $4 a gallon to $20 a gallon. This means all of the capitalist institutions stay right in place. All the capitalist institutions, the grocery still gets to use the banks and use their accounts, and you still have, the multi-millionaire index and stocks and bonds and trust and all this, ridiculous fucking financial shit. Frankly, I think that the crash of Wall Street would be good for the American working class. So I'm socialist. I'm not pure communist. I'm socialist because I care about the entire people. We need to care about the community. We need to care about the individual as much as the community, and we need to change, and we also need to think with our hearts. So that's a good thing. That'll keep milk at $4, $5, $6 a gallon. That'll force Kroger's to only incrementally increase the prices instead of price gouging. Instead of saying, you know what, these damn Americans, I bet we could get away with charging them $20 a gallon. And then maybe half of them could, pay for $20, but that's maximization of profit. Some things shouldn't be for profit. Food, healthcare, prison. When you make it for profit, then you're saying, well, we're not going to give you this food that you need unless you pay us a big hefty fucking... No, it'd be nice just to have the basic necessities be as cheap as we possibly could make it. So I don't know how much, that would actually even affect the damn price of milk. I think that they still could get away with, if they raise it $1 here, raise it $1 there, they could still continue to price gouge. They could continue to increase milk prices up by $1 every year. And therefore the FTC has no authority, and therefore they can't impose a large fine on Albertsons or Kroger's or Whole Foods. It's definitely not communism. There's no nationalization of the big industries. social media, healthcare, education, big oil. Now let's talk about this other idea she has. Kamala promises capitalist developers a tax incentive to build affordable renting houses. So rental housing. She's saying that we need 3 million new houses because we got a housing shortage. And we do. We have a housing shortage. And there's a lot of reasons for this. There's another thing that she's actually proposing, and I'll go ahead and say it too because it has to do with homes. We could take $20 billion and just build the homes for the homeless and all the homeless people that's living in the sewers in Las Vegas and living in every city in America. We could get them a place to stay. Plenty of cheap-ass desert land in the West. Plenty of money. $23.5 billion is going to go kill a bunch of 200,000 Jesus Christ in Bethlehem with the massacre of the innocents. So Kamala also promises to remove tax benefits for Wall Street investors who buy bulk single-family rental homes. So these corporate conglomerates, as monopolies, they are buying these rental places because every month, right, you got to have a bottom line. You got to increase your profits. You got to make sure that your shareholders are making bank. And so if you're a housing corporation, well, you got to make sure that rent keeps coming in. You got to keep on upping that rent and charging people more and more and more. So you got these big-ass corporations. This isn't just a landlord with like 1 or 2 housing units. This is a big-ass corporation with like 100, 200, 300 houses. And they're making sure that the poor and working classes and homeless people aren't going to get to stay there. And then they're price gouging on top of it. So what are we going to do about that idea? Well, we're going to remove a tax benefit for the Wall Street investors who buy bulk single-family rental homes. We're going to remove the tax benefit. Why do they have tax benefits? Why would the Wall Street investors have tax benefits in order to buy bulk single-family rental homes? Why would the state could buy those things? And there's 23 empty houses for every homeless person, so we could put a homeless person into these housing units if we gave a damn. If it's just a coordination failure. For every 1 Palestinian killed, I think we should bankrupt 1 U.S. billionaire. Why? Because each and every life is worth more than all the property of the richest person out here. Each and every single life is worth more than all of the property of the richest person out here. And clearly these billionaires profit off of a financial system that caters to and encourages the massacre of the Palestinians, the throwing away of homeless people, making sure we price gouge when it comes to health care, make sure we pack the prisons in so that way the prison conglomerate can make some fucking money. And then these groceries. We need food to eat. We need food and water. Food, water, housing. That would be the 3, basic necessities of life that either should be free or very, very cheap. I don't even know if her proposals would even lower the stuff. So you take away the tax benefit of the Wall Street investor. Do they stop buying single-family rental homes? No, they still buy them. They just don't get the benefits. They don't get the tax, refunds or the tax credits. The tax credits, who are we talking to? These people are freaking ridiculous. You take tax credits away from big capitalists. That's not farm collectives. That's not the gulag. That's not... We're maintaining the capitalist imperialist system. We are maintaining the capitalist imperialist system. The proletariat right now, the working class, the working masses has no voice, has no power. This, what she's talking about, is not Marxism, it's not communism, it's reforming capitalism. So how are we going to reform capitalism? Well, the Wall Street investors, you don't get the tax benefits by buying a whole bunch of single-family rental homes so you can jack up the rent and hose the rest of us. That is not communism. That is not communism. People are so stupid. I guess the right wing is the Nazis, the left wing is communists, so anytime you just try to attach that label to somebody, that's just the common attack line. Each and every life is worth more than all the property of the richest person out here. So she also promised the capitalist developer a tax incentive to build affordable housing, affordable rental housing. So instead of buying all these houses that's out there and keeping them away from people in order to, jack up their rents. So instead of buying the stuff that's already out here, she's going to have a tax incentive so people could buy. The developers, the corporate capitalist developers can build affordable rental housing. You know what would be more socialist than that? You know what would be more communist than that? Why don't you just give that to working class co-ops? Go ahead and have a developer corporation where the working class co-ops can build all these houses. And they can build affordable rental housing. And it all goes, the money and the profits, the capitalism part will go to the working class. It'll go to the working class people instead of all these multi-million-dollar investors and all these, motherfuckers on Wall Street. That would help out Main Street by actually helping out the working class. So she's saying, in order to build more housing, we're going to take away the tax benefits of the Wall Street investors, and we're going to give tax benefits, a tax incentive, so that they will build affordable rental housing. What the fuck is communist about that? What the fuck is communist about that? Giving tax breaks for the capitalist is not communist. You're maintaining the capitalist imperialist system. You're maintaining the financial structure. And will it solve homelessness? It won't solve homelessness. It will make it maybe more affordable. Maybe it'll make it more affordable. Maybe. 3 million new houses in 4 years? How many more Americans are born each year? Will that tell us? So they say 3.6 million live births. So having 3 million new houses won't even take care of 1 year's worth of the new people being born. The babies being born in the United States is greater than 3 million. They're going to need homes in 20 years. So we need to actually keep up with the birth rate. If we're having 4 million new babies every year, then we're going to need at least 4 million homes every year in order to just take care of the babies that are being born. Let alone the people that need housing right now, the people that are staying with other people. So her promising capitalist developers a tax incentive to build affordable rental housing. Her promising to remove tax benefits from the Wall Street investors who buy bulk single-family rental homes. This is not fucking communism. This is not the controlling of the means of production. This is not the proletariat dictatorship. If you're going to attack Kamala on her record or on her ideas, at least make fucking sense. At least say something that is worthy of, that's close to reality. The shit that they're saying isn't even close to reality. What? You're gonna take away our tax benefits? Yeah, fucking build your fucking houses and get the tax benefits that you need. You want tax benefits? Then build brand new houses. Quit stealing all the old houses that's around. Sitting there kicking, these are working class folks that are getting kicked out of their buildings. And we're not nationalizing any of the big oil, healthcare, education, or prison industries. They're still corporate. So when she says to give the FTC authority to impose large fines on big grocery who impose price gouging, unless they have a big jump on the price gouging that's clear and obvious, because you'd have to prove that that's what they're doing is maximizing their profits, and they're doing it at such a level that people are going down. You'd have to prove that people, 20 working class families, used to be able to budget around, having milk at $4 a gallon. Then you'd have to prove that the 20 families now have to spend $20 a gallon. So therefore, it's breaking their budget. And then on top of that, the big grocery either did it on purpose or unintentionally. And then on top of that, the FTC would have to come down with a hammer with some fines. That's a lot of what ifs before the FTC even gets to say anything about imposing large fines on big grocery who impose price gouging. So that's just a couple of her ideas. Let's see, maybe we'll take a look at some of these other ideas. So she wants to prevent corporate landlords from using algorithmic price setting tools to increase rents by large margins. They're maximizing the profits. How much can Americans afford? Oh, you can afford $3,000 a month? Well, then fuck you, pay me. No, you're going to pay me $3,000 for rent. Not for these walls, not for this floor, but for the air. For us allowing you access to our buildings, our capital. Give capital to the working class. Give it to the poor and the homeless people. Give it to the middle class too. That would help the middle class and the working classes out. By actually giving them the buildings that they are paying for. $3,000, you could build a small tiny house for $10,000. People are paying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for monthly rent. That's what? 2,000 times 12, 24 grand. You could buy 2 tiny houses or buy one, regular house. Build one regular house by your own hands. Expanding an existing tax incentive. You know how much taxes they got to pay every year? Like $50 fucking dollars. So when it comes to the tax of rent, that's $2,000 fucking dollars. When it comes to the capitalists, their tax is only $50 fucking dollars, while they're making you pay for their mortgage. Pass a child tax credit that would provide $6,000 per child to families. Again, these are tax credits. So that means you would be paying $10,000 worth of taxes, but if you have a child, then you'd have to pay $6,000 less. Expand the earned income tax credit for lower wage workers by up to $1,500. They are saying something about this. It pulls people out of poverty, like half of them, but then they let the shit expire. Some of this is pretty complicated stuff. Eliminating medical debt, there's something there, that's like giving money away. That's the nanny state. Okay, you could, maybe make an argument out of that. Capping the out-of-pocket cost of insulin at $35 per month. That's price and wage controls, right? Which Nixon tried. So when you say this is how much you could spend and this is how much you could buy, but you'd be doing that across the board, right? You'd be doing that with each and everything that's out there. When it comes to food, water, security, housing, these are human needs. These are Maslow's basic human needs. And if you just want to say those are it, fine. Housing, food, water, security. What else are we doing? Oh yeah, let's don't forget that she wants, she's a fascist, regressive when it comes to truancy on public schools. She's a cop and system defender, so we're not going to see any cop reform or criminal justice reform. We're going to demilitarize the police, but we're going to throw a bunch of sex workers in jail. We're going to throw a bunch of potheads in jail. We're going to throw a whole bunch of the drugs. The war on drugs is still going to carry on. When it comes to immigration, she's going to pass that Republican bill. Do not come, she says, to immigrants. There's no pathway to citizenship, no free college. When it comes to Medicare for all, she's reversed on that. So anything that she promised when she was running for the Democratic ticket against Bernie Sanders, you could just throw all that shit away. She's a new person. She's a shapeshifter. She's a chameleon. And what she is running on right now isn't to ban fracking. It isn't Medicare for all. It isn't to legalize marijuana. And then we got also freedom issues. What about libertarians? The NSA spying, the Employee Free Choice Act, houses for homeless, instant runoff voting. We're going to get a second Bill of Rights. There's something about a homeowner's Bill of Rights, which that's interesting. Homeowners. Again, that's people who own the capital. So if you own a home, then you'll get Bill of Rights, right? What about renters' Bill of Rights? And what about just a second Bill of Rights anyways? What about just doubling down on the current Bill of Rights that we have? You get a grand jury indictment for any felony charge. And then there's, 10 more, right? No excessive fines, no excessive punishments. Prosecute white-collar corporate criminals. Are we doing that? Are we going to free Mumia or Leonard or Edward Snowden? We're going to bring him home, free Medhurst. We're going to let the ex-felons vote. They're going to pass a Voting Rights Act again? How many times have we got to pass Voting Rights Act? Is she going to release the JFK or UFO or Epstein files? What about the $20 Tubbins? Where are those at? What about reparations? So the cities, San Francisco actually rose when it came to nonviolent drug offenses. Apparently she took on the big banks. Okay, that's kind of cool. Throw the corporate criminals in jail. That would be better. But she likes to throw Jamal Truelove in jail. He was innocent of murder, but he had to serve 6 years of his 50-year sentence. That cost San Francisco $13 million. The new Jim Crow says you're going to use the private prison labor force for cheap labor. Again, what is goddamn fucking communist about any of this shit? She's going to defend the capitalist imperialist system. She is the vice president for Status Quo Joe. What has Status Quo Joe done? Has he passed out millions of dollars for, education or healthcare? Has he passed out millions and billions of dollars for homes for the houseless? Has he declared a war on poverty? Not even a war on poverty. You could declare a war on poverty and then keep the capitalist imperialist structure in place. You could write UBI checks. You know who is in favor of UBI? Not just Martin Luther King Jr., but Milton fucking Friedman, Mr. Capitalist 101 himself, was for UBI checks. But we'll give the terrorists to bomb Palestine 200,000. 200,000 Jesus Christ are getting killed in Bethlehem. 200,000 Jesus Christ are being killed in Bethlehem right now. That money could have been for homes for the houseless. $20 billion is all you need to build homes for the houseless, for the homes for the homeless. Instead, we're going to spend it on bombs and guns, and we're going to keep on killing Palestinians. This shit don't stop. So when people are sitting there, got their panties in a bunch, it doesn't make any sense that you got your panties in a bunch. Because none of this is fucking communist. None of this is communist in the fucking least bit. None of this is fucking communist. Expect more earthquakes for Oklahoma when it comes to fracking. When it comes to Medicare for all, she's for the insurance company. She's a capitalist through and through. Free college, yeah. Don't fucking count on that. Don't hold your breath for that. Some reason she's against even private post office boxes. I heard. I don't even know what that's about. Like, what the fuck is that even about? And then when it comes to truancy on public schools, right? I guess that's how you're going to fill those private prisons up, right? This is stupid. This is ridiculous. Now, she says that she's for a homeowner bill of rights. Okay, let's talk about the new way forward. Are we going to get a homeowner bill of rights? That might be a start towards an actual bill of rights. We don't even enforce our own bill of rights. Look at all the free speech issues that Elon Musk has to go through. Free speech is free speech. And she's opposed to Medicare for all. So any of the stuff that she had said in the past, throw that shit away. I heard that maybe she had, somebody taught her some Marxism or something. She's been making fucking bank for, 20, 30 years now. She was only saying what she thought that the liberal progressives actually want to hear by running to the left of Bernie Sanders. Bernie didn't win. Kamala didn't win. Joe Biden fucking won. And he's a conservative. He's as conservative as you could ever fucking get. He maintained the status quo. He maintained the status quo. Has your lives changed? They haven't changed at all. And you know that they haven't. Nothing's changed about America. Hardly any fucking thing has changed about America. Now, she might codify Roe v. Wade, so that's something, but it ain't no fucking communism. It ain't the means of production. It's not market.